Good morning. How are you? Good afternoon. Sorry, I'm still in Perth time. Can you tell? So what is it? It is 8:35 in the morning. So I don't have a clicker here, so I'm just going to say next slide if that's okay. Firstly, I don't know. I'm with Ian. I don't know what he's been talking about the weather all along. I think it's pretty good out there today. So and what a great welcome. What a great reason to be here in Wellington with you today. You heard about Team Cloud, and Team Cloud is underpinned by the Oracle Cloud, OCI. So I thought it's apt for us to really maybe talk about very quickly as to what is OCI and why OCI, because it's important to maybe get a baseline frame as to what it is, what are the services that come with it, and some of which Ian covered at a high level. And then we'll talk about what does it mean when we bring OCI into New Zealand as Team Cloud. So next slide, please. So I think it's important. Oh, there we go. That's what we're going to talk about. Next again, please. Okay, so why OCI? And next again. There we go. So I think it's a couple of tenets. When you look at Oracle Cloud, it's important to understand that OCI started 11 years after the first infrastructure cloud. So one side of me can say, well, you guys are late. But the flip side would be, if you look at IT and IT evolution, 11 years is a long time for innovation to gestate, right? Innovation to be redefined. So when we started 11 years after everybody else had their cloud in place, we sort of said, we're not going to build the same thing. That would be ridiculous, right? We're actually going to start with a clean sheet of paper, and we're going to look at what are the bottlenecks that aren't resolved in current clouds. What's holding customers back from moving workloads from on-premises to the clouds? If we can help customers remove those barriers of entry and help them make it easy to move workloads to the cloud, we're going to get a rapid adoption. That was the premise of it. So we started 11 years after the cloud with a clean sheet. We were going to break some rules because everybody else in the market, the other 3 or 4 hyperscalers, have got pretty much the same architecture, but we were able to be different. So 5 things with it that were quite different. First thing we did is, it's technical there, it says off-box virtualization, but basically we isolated the cloud provider's control plane from what the customers run. So there's a physical separation and isolation there. That's a good thing from a security perspective. Just in day one, security is built in. There's physical isolation between what we deploy to control the cloud versus what the customer brings on top of the cloud. That is very differentiated relative to the other cloud providers. It also means we take away the hypervisor tax, that performance overhead that a software-based hypervisor delivers for you, right? Because we're running off-box in its own processor adjacent to you, not underneath the customer tenancy. Very, very different. So with that difference, you get some performance benefits. We also then said, performance is good, but enterprise workloads needs predictability as well. So how do you get predictability? Well, everything in the cloud is deployed across the network. Everything's a network resource in the cloud. Well, in the other hyperscalers, you don't know if something's going to be 2 hops away, 5 hops away, or 17 hops away as you go between service 1, service 2, service 3. And as you go between region 1 and region 2, it's completely unpredictable. In fact, your early deployments may be 3 hops away, the next ones might be 5 hops away. So we redesigned the networking infrastructure in OCI, so everything was 2 hops away. That now delivers you predictability. So you got performance and isolation from the first differentiation. You got predictability with the second differentiation. Now with that predictability and performance and isolation, we're the only hyperscale cloud that can deliver performance-based SLAs as well, not just availability SLAs. Availability SLAs, everybody does. Are you alive? Yes, I'm alive. Performance SLAs, are you alive and can you run 0 to 100 in 5 seconds? Yes, I can. There's a performance implication behind it. We can do that because we're isolated, there's no hypervisor and bare metal, we've got predictable networking infrastructure. We also then maximize how much we pack into the density. So we're running in green data centers, but within those green data centers, we're very, very highly dense in our compute structures, so we take less floor space. So that in itself also delivers benefits for customers. Extremely flexible infrastructure. The cloud was all about elasticity. It was all about agility, right? Why do you go to cloud? Because you can provision things really quickly. You can start small, you can scale up fast, you can scale down fast. That was what cloud was supposed to be. But the other hyperscalers tend to put you into fixed t-shirt sizes of shapes. And we took all of those boundaries away because we started clean. So we don't have fixed t-shirt size for shapes. You design the shapes you want. Slider bar, how much of CPU, how much of memory, how much of storage IOs you need, and how much networking throughput you need. And all of that is completely configurable and flexible for our customers, not available anywhere else, right? So we're putting, or the way I like to say it, we're making the cloud elastic again, right? You can start really small, you can scale really, really quickly. And last but not least, simple, predictable pricing. Quite often when we speak and present quotes to customers, they ask us, have you made a mistake, right? It doesn't seem right. And I think it's important, Ian, you asked for orders this afternoon. I'm just going to ask for quotes, right? Maybe we can ask for quotes this afternoon. But I think it does come across that, there's a significant difference. Why? How do we do this? It's because it's architected differently, right? So we can actually do this in a very, very different, very different technology footprint. So that is OCI. Next slide, please. What does that give us? Those differentiators give us a number of things. It gives us predictable performance, like I talked about. It gives us a very flat cost curve. So by designing things like the network differently, we don't have to charge for egress. It's a very, very big cost for customers on clouds today. Our egress costs are flat, if not nothing, for customers, right? So there's a reason to move to the cloud because I've made it really easy to move to the cloud, but I'm also not pushing you into an island where you can't get out of the cloud. So we're encouraging customers to move in and out as you see necessary. So very flat cost curve, full flexibility like I always talked about, and always on security, because by default, like I said, we're physically isolated, right? And our tenancies are physically isolated because everything's down to bare metal. So tenancy A is not sharing the same computer protected by a software hypervisor. It has its own cores and threads that are not shared by tenancy B. So it's physical isolation. Very, very different in how we're able to then give you an always-on security because it's not bolted on, it's built in. Next slide, please. This one gets customers. They go like, great, so you've built this cloud, it's differentiated, so it really works really well for Oracle workloads, right? Of course it does. Of course it's going to work well for Oracle workloads. But more importantly, what we're seeing is the uptake has been around massive enterprise workloads. So large, I call them monolith workloads, but legacy workloads, monolith workloads, large core systems, PeopleSoft, eBusiness, Siebel, SAP, that couldn't move to clouds before because the clouds weren't offering the same characteristics of performance, reliability, scalability, predictability. We're able to pick them up and move them to the cloud, right? Cloud native workloads, if you built completely open source, zero Oracle database, just using all of the open source frameworks like Uber, like Zoom, like Experian, like SoundHound, all of these folks have got zero Oracle database, zero Oracle applications, but they're using us purely for infrastructure. Compute, network, storage, predictable, price performant, secure, right? That's what they're doing for. Large enterprise estates, if you've got large VMware environments and VMware footprints, again, migrating them to the cloud, a very, very quick proposition on OCI because we make it easy for you to do so. And last but not least, everything we've done with this networking and this scale is really apt for machine learning and AI, especially AI because, I was joking yesterday, Bob Marley says, no data, no AI, right? So no data, no AI. So, if you think about what's AI, there's two extremes of how AI is being worked on. There's going to be large language models that are being built, and there's going to be everybody doing simple use cases like summarization and things like that. But for the enterprise, AI really works when you can take these models and bring them in-house and apply them against your data. No one's going to pick their data up and go outside. And so our ability to bring AI to the data is, again, we've flipped that pyramid on how you do AI. And you see the uptake of the largest AI companies in the world are bringing workloads to Oracle Cloud. NVIDIA themselves is a customer of Oracle Cloud. They offer their DGX Cloud as a SaaS service on OCI. You can't say that about any of the other hyperscalers. Every hyperscaler is a customer of NVIDIA. sorry, every hyperscaler is a customer of NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is one of our customers as well, right? If you're running a Bing query, that's running on OCI, right? And there's many others that are running and jumping onto this platform for the reasons we talked about. Last slide, please, before I hand over to my colleague. Great, so you built this cloud, Chris. It's OCI, it's differentiated. Where is it? Well, we started in 2019 with our first region. You can see where we are now, 68 customer-facing regions. We're opening regions every 22 days because one of the things about building a differentiated cloud, we also shrunk the footprint, so we're able to deliver really quickly. And Ian said that. 9 months it took us from paper signing to going live last Sunday. That's an unheard of achievement with any of the other hyperscalers. So we're going and getting closer and closer and closer to customers. We also fully recognize in this whole structure that customers are not going to go to cloud if it's only public cloud. There's a need to bring that cloud closer and closer to the edge, and the edge being geographical boundaries, but over time, even enterprise boundaries, so within your own organization. And that's what we're structured and designed to do.